in town, and for one, it was kind of last minute. My brother had to do a conference at Missouri State in Springfield, and he goes there, and his kids are at my sister's house, and my sister said, well, the whole family is here. You can come if you want, but obviously we already had plans. We made plans already. And I just got a text from my mom saying that him and his wife both tested positive for COVID today. So they're quarantined in my sister-in-law's basement.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Yeah, bullet dodged.
Fuck, man. And it is the SuperClash podcast. It's a podcast about shorter games. It is episode 58. 58. I almost said 57.
You almost did.
I'm your host, Kale.
Hey, it's Connor again.
And even though we're 20 minutes in, how was your week, Connor?
It was very busy, very hectic. How about you?
Well, leading up to 4th of July, the warehouse is always pretty busy. I'm glad I wasn't nights, though, because I worked 4 4th of Julys at night, and it's always a miserable experience.
Mm.
And so I am very, very blessed to not be on that night crew anymore.
Yeah, I bet.
Because especially the weekend leading up to 4th of July is always super busy, but what always sucked when it came to the warehouse is that if a holiday landed on a weekday, you had to go in that night. And fireworks only looks good at night. I couldn't fucking see it.
Yeah.
Not like we're going to celebrate 4th of July anyway.
Did you get Monday off?
I do get Monday off.
Ah, so do I.
Yeah, and Lily and I are going to where she grew up this weekend, but we'll be back. We're planning to leave no later than 10 on 4th of July, so who knows? Maybe we can do something.
Yeah, man. We could
watch anime,
get together, play a horror game.
Ooh.
Could play The Quarry.
Oh, dude.
Just make a day of it. Just come over in the morning,
actually,
pop The Quarry on.
Actually, hold on. We can't do a horror game because we're already in a horror game.
Oh, yeah, life is a horror game.
Yeah, like, especially here in America.
Oh,
I'm sad now, but I just fucking hate everything.
You just drove the mood back down.
I'm sorry,
dude.
It
took so much effort to bring it back up.
Just leave it to me to do that shit. So, but let's go ahead real quick before we get into the games. Connor and I have a couple shows that we saw. He's further than me in one, so we're going to talk about Kaguya-sama, Love is War.
Oh, yeah. We just finished season 3.
We did just finish season 3. I watched the last 2 episodes with the sub. Lily and I, we usually like to watch the dub because we're scrubs.
Scrubs and dubs.
Scrubs and dubs, dog. New podcast idea. What was your thoughts on the ending, Connor?
I was actually kind of shocked by it, to be honest. The way that they kind of built up this season, they made it seem like it was going to be like the finale of the series,
yes,
right?
It did.
And so I expected all of the, I don't want to say like conflicts, but all the relationship drama would come to a head and that things would pan out. But I got some inklings. I accidentally I don't know, I want to say I spoiled it, but like I flipped through one of the more recent volumes of the manga, which I'm not caught up on, and I noticed that the events that were taking place were past what was in the show by quite a bit, and I'm like, oh, there's probably enough for maybe another season's worth. And I was like, well, maybe they're gonna wrap it up with a really big episode at the end. And they did do a big episode at the end.
Yeah. But
it really kind of sort of drops on a little bit of a cliffhanger.
It does. So spoilers for anyone who's listening. If you haven't seen the show, you can turn it off and come back later. Kaguya and Shirogane kiss.
Yeah.
Kaguya initiated.
Mm-hmm.
And slipped in a tongue.
Oh, yep.
and Ishigami indirectly confessed his love to what's the girl's name?
Gosh, I don't remember.
With that, and I love Ishigami so much, but he's so clueless sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, he's the embodiment of an awkward high school teenager.
He
though.
is.
Like, we would have been completely oblivious too.
And I really like how how they kind of make amends, but Ishigami was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
But it's so funny because I'm watching these animes. I'm getting more and more into animes, and I am just so used to American cartoon / TV show tropes that when something happens in an anime, I'm completely floored by how it works. Like, I was thinking like Ishigami was gonna be like totally rejected and just like it's gonna be sad and everything, but the main girl's like, you know what, just give me some time to get to know you.
Yeah, it was a very
mature response.
Yeah, and I think that's fair because when you think about it, like, he doesn't have much of a history with her. He only really knows her from when he started working on the, what do they call it, like the Pep Squad or whatever?
Like, or something like that.
And, that's fairly recently, whereas, in my opinion, the best girl for him is Miko.
Oh, Miko, yeah, absolutely.
I am a total, like, Miko Ishigami stan, first of all.
I was first shipping Miko and not Miko, Ishigami and the other girl, but as the show went on, I'm starting to ship like Ishigami and Miko a lot, because on the surface it looks like they hate each other, but Ishigami always goes up to bat for Miko,
and she does the same for him
exactly
too. And they can't really explain why they do it for each other, but they have like this like mutual, like, behind the scenes looking out for one another.
They have chemistry.
Yeah, and I think they complement each other real good because Ishigami is very, like, lax and fairly grounded and, isn't really, like, a by-the-rules kind of person, whereas Miko is, like, 100% by the rules. She's head of the ethics committee.
She's a narc.
Yeah, and so, like, I feel like if they actually did get together, they would balance each other out a little bit,
So,
but
the whole finale was so sweet.
I liked how someone confessed to Chica and how she just like brushed them off.
I love Chica so much.
Chica, and the whole the whole premise of this like last handful of episodes was like, Shirogane basically set up this huge elaborate plan in order to get Kaguya to confess to him, and so like, he puts all these things out to distract Miko and to distract Chica, and and I just thought that was wonderful how he like sets up this mystery, knowing that Detective Chica will be on the case.
Exactly,
like,
and
so
knowing
good.
that Kaguya what is more like, Chica's smart, but she's more bombastic and more for show is the wrong word for it.
Yeah, and she's prone to overthinking.
Exactly.
Too.
Whereas Kaguya is more calculated, and that's what makes Shirogane and Kaguya so like meant for each other, because both of them are so calculated.
Yeah, and they're very complementary characters too. I didn't think so in the beginning, but as you get to know them better, you realize that he comes from very humble upbringing, so he has to work a lot harder for everything in his life. So his like biggest character traits are, no matter what obstacle's in front of me, I'm gonna overcome it. I'm gonna get good at that. I'm gonna do this thing. Whereas Kaguya, everything kind of comes easy to her, not only in like the academic spectrum, but just in life, because she's from a wealthy family. So they're like total opposites, but like I think they kind of like inspire each other and attract each other. Whereas like, Shirogane, he wants to have this like better life, this, he wants to excel and do good at everything and achieve higher academia. That's why he's wanting to go study overseas. And whereas Kaguya admires how much of a hard worker he is, and like, is probably not used to people like that around her, because I mean it's a private school, I think, for like really wealthy people typically. So I don't know. The chemistry between all of the characters is great. The friendships, the relationships, it's all
hilarious.
Good. Yeah,
it's so funny.
And the narrator just really, cherry on top.
The narrator steals the show, and from what you told me, both the sub and the dub, the narrator just steals the show.
Well, you've had a little bit of the sub too.
Yeah, but like I really think the peak of the narrator would be like season 2.
Yeah. This one's a little bit more muted to tell the story.
Yeah, absolutely. Well worth it. So yeah, and of course I've been watching My Dress Up Darling.
Okay.
A very, very good show. My Dress Up Darling is about a guy who works in a doll shop named Gojo, who goes to a school and he sees the main character. I forget her name. I'm very bad at remembering names for anime. She looks like the super popular girl. She wears makeup, a lot of makeup. She paints her nails. She's popular with everybody, but she loves to cosplay. And she finds out that Gojo can do makeup and make clothes from making these Hina dolls. So they start working together to create these cosplays that the main girl character from these shows that she watches. And a little bit of a love interest starts kind of building up, mostly from her falling in love with him instead of the other way around.
Because she sees how like caring and hardworking he is,
and what I love about this show is that you see Gojo. He's timid. He's insecure with himself, and the other girl who's just. You would think that she would be snotty and up her own ass because she's a very popular girl. No, she's nice to everybody. And that is so fucking cool.
Yeah. It defies the tropes because she is there's a term for it. I really wish I could remember it. It's basically like in Japan, if there's like a girl who like dyes her hair blonde and does her nails and dresses a little like, I don't know, more risque, slutty, or whatever you want to say, right? There's like a term for that. Damn, I wish I could remember.
Yandere.
No, definitely not that.
I'm just joking.
But yeah, she gives off that vibe, but in reality, she's very down to earth and very almost innocent in a way too.
Exactly. Like when you meet the other main character's little sister, she is 1, a lot taller than her big sister, and 2, has bigger boobs than her sister. And she's all like, "Oh my god, I wish I was that big when I was in middle school." And Gojo's like, "You can't say that. I wish I was 5'10". Oh, that's what you mean. It just
yeah, and like the fact that I don't know what in the English dub they say, but like when she says like I wub him.
Yeah, it's kind of like she says kind of like that. I think the voice actor says I love him so much.
Yeah. That's what they say in the Japanese version too, and it's cute. It's very like
it is adorable. It's right like Lily and I are just loving it so much.
Just her coming to terms with her feelings as
exactly,
she's like,
and then Gojo kind of learning from her to come out of his shell a little bit. Ever since he's been hanging out with her, he's been laughing more. He's been loving he's been loving his craft of the Hina dolls a lot more, and even making clothes and getting better. He's finding what he loves to do.
I think like the really big thing for him and probably going forward will help him out a lot is he is used to the interactions from the people he knows when they find out he makes these dolls is mostly negative. And so to find someone that like respects the craft and like, likes his work, and not only that, just doesn't judge him for wanting to do that thing, I think is very, it's going to really help him develop, I think, as a person,
Exactly. How many seasons is there right now?
Just the one, but I'm pretty sure they've confirmed at least one more season.
Okay, good, because I want to watch more.
Yeah.
So
it ends on you need
don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I won't spoil. It ends in a way that is both satisfying and also leaves you wanting more. It's
Good.
but make sure you like keep watching. I want to say past the credits of the last episode, because I want to say there's more content after. But
Okay.
yeah, watch it all the way through. Don't just like when the credits hit, just end it.
Cool.
Just watch.
Okay, so now that Anime Hour is done, that is a new segment of our show. Not really. We have 3 games to talk about. We originally wanted to talk about just the 2, but as I said in the last episode, we ran out of time, so we pushed 1 game to this week. So the 3 games that we'll be talking about tonight is Fury Unleashed, Superliminal, and Bugsnax.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into those, Connor, let's get physical.
All right. So we have kind of an interesting week on this. There was only really 1 game to talk about. So I put as much information on it as I could just to not leave this as a, 2-second segment. So the 1 game I have to cover is Bill and Ted's Excellent Retro Collection, which is $35. It's on PS5, PS4, and Switch. It's a limited run games exclusive. And it says, a blast from the past. Bill and Ted's Retro Collection includes Bill and Ted's Excellent Video Game Adventure and Bill and Ted's Excellent Game Boy Adventure, A Bogus Journey. Bill and Ted's Excellent Video Game Adventure is an NES game based on those 2 bodacious dudes of movie fame. Excellent.
Excellent.
History has been all screwed up, and only the San Dimas duo can set things straight. Awesome responsibility, man. Ride the power phone booth to 6 different worlds. Galactic, man. Search for famous historical dudes through space and time. Most cosmic. Talk with the likes of Julius Caesar. He invented Caesar salad. And Napoleon, the short dead dude. Send them back in time or you'll miss the Wild Stallions concert. Starring you. Heavy. It's a bodacious, mind-boggling role-playing adventure and your only chance to save the world and earn the respect you deserve. No way, yes way. A most excellent role-playing adventure. And then Bill and Ted's Excellent Game Boy Adventure, A Bogus Journey, is a world without our most excellent compatriots, Bill and Ted? No way. Yes way. If the Grim Reaper and evil Bill and Ted robots get their way. Denomalos wants to totally change the future, and the only way to stop his most heinous dude is to travel through the circuits of time and collect the stolen time fragments. 10 adventures, 50 quests. But watch out. Historical dudes like Billy the Kid are tumbling with their killer tumbleweeds, while the executioner has an axe to grind with you. Napoleon has a short temper, and even Granny S. Preston Esquire tries to bag you. Most bogus. Time is running out, so be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. A collector's edition is also available for $60. It includes a retro-style box, soundtrack, and dust sleeve. Pre-orders for this one end July 10th.
No, it was really funny to hear you read that like the most straight way possible.
I know. I was like, do I get into the voice or do I just...
I think you should have gotten into the voice.
Part of me thought it was funnier not to.
Okay, fair enough. So, and that's the only one?
That's the only one.
Damn.
The other one that I swore was coming out got pushed another week. So I'll talk about that one next time.
I will say this, though, and even though I doubt it'll be available by the time this game comes out, you can or by the time this episode comes out, you can at least try. For super rare games, Strange Brigade is on the super rare games. What was what I'm looking for? Strange Brigade is the game for super rare games this time.
Yeah, and you can also get a steelbook version of this one as well,
Yes,
which is what I ordered.
Which I didn't get back to you. I was gonna have you order one for me, but
they may still have them.
Yeah, I'm currently looking at it. It's at 32% sold.
So, at least is that the steelbook or the standard edition?
It doesn't say. It just says 32%.
So,
but,
at least the standard edition is probably 32%.
Yeah. So, and Strange Brigade is, if anyone has played the Zombie Army games, it's basically what it is, only with like mummies and everything.
Yeah, I didn't add that one this time because I'm pretty sure they announced this one fairly late. Like we found it out like when we were downstairs
right after
the
finished
podcast,
recording.
And they were talking about it, and I was like, shit. So I really wish I could have got it on last week's, but you know how it be.
But it is what it is. Like, Super Rare Games is weird. Like, they usually release what their game's gonna be right after we record.
Yeah, it seems that way.
But that's okay. So let's just go in and dive into the games. So first will be Fury Unleashed.
Fury.
This is developed by Awesome Game Studios, released in 2020. You can generally beat this in about 8.5 hours at most, and you can get this for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. You play as the comic book hero Fury, killing enemies as your creator struggles as a writer outside of the comic.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a super interesting kind of hook for this game.
Yeah, it's about like how his comic's not doing as well as it could have been before, and that ends up creating a conflict later in the game for you as the player.
Exactly. So this is a 2D side scroller with roguelike elements. The levels are set up like a comic book page, so like each room is like a panel, and it's all randomly generated. What makes this... Sorry. When you die, you do start over, but any experience points, which is ink, it's basically ink blots.
Pretty sure, yeah.
You get kind of pooled into your experience, and you level up, and you gain skill points.
Yes.
Which you use to, like, level up your health and get more grenades and everything, so you can do better on frequent run-throughs.
Yeah, so, you know, even if you die 10 times, by the time you've died 10 times and played 10 times, you've leveled up a bunch and have increased your skills a lot more, so you should do better, theoretically, with each subsequent run.
And bosses are randomized, so, like, you could just enter a room and boom, boss fight. And but they're all really fun. They're all really enjoyable. You can hold 2 weapons. You have grenades, special ability, sprint, double jump, and you can jump on enemies. It's very simple controls, but they're surprisingly deep.
Yeah. And speaking of controls, actually, when I posted that I finished the game, I played it on Steam Deck, so I included a picture of the Steam Deck. The dev actually reached out and asked how I liked the controls, because they had just put in, I guess, a control scheme layout for the Steam Deck, so that when you load up the game, it defaults to that. And I liked it. I don't know if it's the same way. You played on Switch, right?
Yeah, I played it on Switch.
You can aim with the right stick in a certain direction, and it'll just shoot in that direction.
That's how it was on Switch.
I loved that. That felt so good to play that way.
It was just it felt like a twin stick shooter.
Yeah, exactly. But it's more of a side scroller Metroidvania style, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the rooms also have chests and pickups to give you advantages, so like armor, new weapons, and these pickups are like characters. So you have a character who's a doctor that will give you health. You can sign a deal with the devil that will give you an advantage at the cost of something else. And then as you get to later in the story, you start entering uncolored areas with unfinished areas that the author has not released yet.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on this game is this game fucking rules.
I had a lot of fun with it.
This game is fast-paced, and it's interesting too, because as we explained, the writer is struggling with this comic book character. And so I feel like where the story starts is like really, really late into this man's career.
Yeah.
And so the level setups are stupid.
Yeah.
And I mean that as a compliment, because the first level you play is like you're in a jungle with like undead mages and everything.
Yeah.
And Fury himself is like your Rambo, Arnold Schwarzenegger from Commando, you know?
I don't know. Mine was a furry.
What?
Yeah, you can change your character.
Oh, I knew that, but I didn't know about the furry.
Yeah, I made him a furry.
But anyway, and then the level after that is like, it's like Nazis went back in time and came back. It's like all really stupid setups, but I think they're dumb to drive home the conflict of the story of this struggling writer.
Yeah. I think my only... I don't have many critiques of this game at all, but my only critique is really that I think we should have had maybe one more section, maybe two, where we play through and we get his backstory before his comics start performing poorly, where you think everything's going great. Like, oh, yeah, he's a best-selling, comic illustrator. He's got, this going on for him, blah, 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 blah. And then watch that decline.
Yeah.
So it hits a little more home. Because I'm pretty sure the first level kind of ends with you figuring out that his comics are declining
that they
in
haven't been
popularity.
doing well.
Yeah. So I think it would have been kind of cool if they had a little bit more of a build up to that. So you can see him kind of fall from grace a little bit, but that's really my only critique on that.
And what was nice about this too is that death didn't feel all that punishing. It's not like it was with Helmut or Xenocrisis, to where if you die, it just kind of ruins your playthrough.
Yeah.
Because as we stated before, when you die, all that ink that you gather gets pooled in, and you could level up 5 or 6 times and have 5 or 6 skill points to distribute in your skill tree.
Yeah.
And even putting 1 skill point into an ability makes a massive difference. You see a difference in how you play just by putting 1 skill point in.
And I think the roguelike nature of it increases your desire to replay too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if I die after beating one whole section, I don't have to be like, oh, I got to go do everything over again. It's different. Your next playthrough is going to be a little bit different. Things are laid out different.
Especially since because when you click the thumbstick, you can see the map. The map's already pre-laid out. You just don't know what's in the rooms.
Okay.
And if you want, you can literally bum rush to the other side if you wanted to. So if you're getting tired of playing the section over and over again, and you just want to go fight the last boss, or not the last boss, the final boss of that section, you can. And there's already a little bit of there's already, oh my god, I cannot brain today.
You can't brain?
No, I can't. There's already so you don't need to play a game or not a section over and over again. If you beat the final boss of that comic 3 times, then you can start at the next comic, with the exception of the last comic, which is the sketchbook.
Yeah, that's you're about to hit a point that I really want to talk about, which is the final sketchbook.
Yes,
that you go to.
Mm-hmm.
I did not. You beat the game, right?
Yes.
Okay. I did not like that when you got to that point, you can't go back and replay the other levels anymore.
Yeah,
and there's
I
no
thought that
warning.
one was a little disappointing.
At least in some games, one of the games we'll talk about later today, Bugsnax, when you hit a point where there's going to be no return, they give you the option of, hey, do you want to go back and play any of this stuff before we lock it down? And this game did not have that, so I was kind of caught off guard when I got to the sketchbook level, the black and white. I died, and I had to start right back in there again, but without all of my weapon upgrades and stuff that I had picked up along the way.
Because you lose those when you die.
You do. And so I was like, well, shit. The whole fun part about doing one of these playthroughs is as you progress through each book, you're picking up better weapons, more stuff that, to power you up, health upgrades, whatever, all the temporary stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it carries forward as long as you don't die. And that was kind of a bummer, I think, that you couldn't go back to those, especially because, I think those levels are kind of fun just to replay.
Yeah.
So I was honestly, after I died on that sketchbook level, I was just going to go back and play through again.
Yeah.
To get all boosted up.
Mm-hmm. And for a while, I was getting really confused. Okay, if I die and come back to this sketchbook, I don't have any of my stuff. How am I supposed to get better?
Yeah.
Luckily, there are still portals to where you can choose if you want the armor or the weapon or the weapons guy or the doctor, which helps and doesn't seem to cost you anything in the sketchbook.
Yeah, it's just not as fun as doing the other ones where you're picking up random things that you're finding.
I do agree.
But
so But overall, like I thought this game was really, really good. I enjoyed this game, and I thought it was really cool that that the developer reached out to you afterward.
Yeah, and I didn't even like tag them. They just
they have to have something like a bot or something that monitors anything that says Fury Unleashed or something.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, because I took a picture of the home screen with my dog Kiva, and I think like an automatic account, it was like Good Dogs or something, like automatically liked it.
How did they know?
I don't know, but it's fucking scary. So, but yeah, this game I wholeheartedly recommend this game. This game was like $10.
What'd you give it?
I gave this thing like an 8.5 out of 10.
That's exactly what I was thinking
So,
this whole time. I was like, yeah, 8.5, because I think what would push it over to a 9 or even beyond is if they added a little bit more build-up stuff, and if they allowed you to go back and play through the previous levels instead of locking you into that final section.
Yeah. So, okay. So, moving on to Superliminal. This is developed by Pillow Castle Games, released on 2019 on PC, and then 2020 on consoles. I don't have the time to beat. I think it was like 3.5 hours.
It wasn't too bad, yeah.
No. And you can get this for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. You play as an unnamed protagonist who's a subject in an experiment about dream therapy. But when they fail to wake up when they're supposed to, they become trapped in the dream world. So this is one of the most interesting puzzle games I have played in a long time. I would say, like, if anyone has played Manifold Garden, which we've talked about on the show, this game is almost closely related to this.
A lot of Portal DNA as well.
A lot of very, very, very inspired by Portal. Even down to like the AI character, you know. You start seeing things behind the scenes and everything. I thought you weren't really in a dream. I thought like this was all going to be like a setup of some kind. But for sure, you're in a dream. The hook of this game is perspective changes the size of the objects and also materializes objects in the world. One of the first examples is a chess piece in the beginning of the game. It's going to be very difficult to explain.
It's very visual.
But if you were to take a regular old chess piece, you know, in your hand, and then you would use perspective to make that chess piece the same size as a street light, the chess piece will become that size.
Yes. And
you would use this to solve puzzles. Another example would be, you know, those art pieces where, like, if you look at it at the right angle, it looks three-dimensional, but if you look at it any other way, it's just a flat object.
Yeah, and it's like just nothing pattern or whatever.
That is an element in this game as well, and you would use that perspective to be able to manifest the objects into the world, like with boxes. You need to line up the pieces of the boxes in order to manifest into the world, and that's what you can use to solve the puzzles.
Yeah, there's these checkered boxes, and you have to make them look like a checkered box by moving your vision around, and then you can grab it once it is.
Yeah, I had so much fun with this game. This, like I said in Fury Unleashed, this game fucking rules.
Yeah.
Lily and I went out for a while to take a break from this game, but the only thing I could really think about is I really want to keep playing this game.
Yeah.
Such a cool concept.
I think so.
And dreams is a great explanation to be able to do this stuff.
Yeah, it when you don't have the confines of reality, you can kind of do whatever you want.
And so, and as the game goes on, like, for one, the loading screens are weird.
Yeah, they'll start acting really strange. I've noticed, like, they'll go off the screen, or they'll, like, you know.
Yeah. And it's all part of the story, because, like, you're supposed to wake up at some point of the game, but you don't. And I think the only way they can reach you is with radio messages from Dr. Glenn Pierce, a character who we don't know anything about outside of what the messages that he leaves us.
Yeah.
and the AI character, which is unnamed. But as you progress into this, and as you get deeper and deeper into this dream world, creepy shit starts happening.
Mm-hmm.
So like the color palette and the light shifts, and you start seeing blood trails.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started seeing these blood trails, I was thinking, wait a minute. Now I'm starting to get the Portal vibes here, because for those who, if by some chance you've never played Portal, all right, kind of the whole thing about Portal is that the whole building is completely devoid of all life because the AI killed them all. But you see one lone, like the scribblings of one lone survivor that they call Ratman. It's just like these crazy scribblings and everything. Well, the red paint kind of gave me that. These vibes were like, did I say red paint? I just spoiled it.
Yeah, you did.
Damn it. Well, see, that's the thing. You think it's blood trails, but it's just red paint. It was just literally just them remodeling a room.
Yeah, it's a red herring.
It's a complete red herring.
And I remember texting you when I first saw this stuff, and I was like, dude, is this turning into a horror game?
I totally thought it was turning into a horror game, especially like the way the diet sodas boxes in that one room was set up to where just the dye was showing, and I was like, "Are you? This is fucking."
Wasn't there
me
like
up.
a mannequin head too that was in the window?
It looked like a head, but you would go through the door. It was a chess piece. It was a pawn.
That's right. It was. Yeah.
And just like, and this is kind of the point too. Where I started falling in love with this game, because these things aren't scary. Like, there's no jump scares in this game,
and you can't die.
No, you can't die. It was purely just assets, and they just placed and just changed the lighting, and it was very, very cleverly done.
I think I only really, I think one thing we need to kind of touch on is the difficulty. Whereas I think the game was challenging, but not impossible.
Yes.
And I think the one level that really tripped me up, well, obviously the first level will likely trip most people up if you don't know what to expect. And I think once I figured out how the game works, the subsequent ones were easier. But there was the one level where you walk into this room and it's a big red ball, I want to say.
It was
an apple, and then a big fan. That one, took me so long to figure out what I needed to do there.
You texted me asking for a hint, and
yeah,
I was having issues with that too, because all the puzzles up to that point, they were just doing size perspective. They weren't doing any like visual perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
The solution to that puzzle is that there is an apple like in a section, and if you try to click it to pick it up, it just a copy pops off, and a smaller one, and they just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Fun fact: I found out you can hit a limit.
Yeah,
you get an achievement if you hit the limit.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, well, I can just keep repeating it until I get to the button. But here's the thing: the button is one, upstairs, and two, there's a fan that blows them over the edge.
Yeah.
The solution to this is you have to go up to the stairs and position your character so it looks like the apple is sitting on the button.
Mm-hmm.
Then you click the apple.
Yeah.
This is to the point of the game where I realized it did not matter how far I was from the object.
Yep.
What mattered was that as long as my cursor was over the object.
Yeah, and that kind of led forward to the what was it, a bouncy house area?
Yes, that one was a really cool puzzle.
Yeah, that one took me a little bit, but I figured it out, and that one was fun. But I think overall, like, just the amount of creativity. We said the same thing for Manifold Gardens. Like, to be able to like come up with these puzzles is just wild.
Manifold Garden and Superliminal are two games that I would want to see a sequel of.
Oh,
Or at least DLC. Give me more of these puzzles.
yeah, I would pre-order those immediately.
Like, I want to play Superliminal again just so I can experience it again.
Yeah. I wonder if I doubt it, but I wonder if the different platforms are have any different content on them, because we played it on Switch.
Yeah. I'm actually starting to wonder if we were to get it for PC, if there's like community-made puzzles.
That would be cool. That might be something worth looking up.
I would be so in for community-made puzzles.
Heck yeah, man.
As long as they're not like Mario Maker level of levels, you know, which we have to do like these super convoluted shit, you know.
Yeah. Make it make sense in the confines of the
I
world.
want it thoughtfully made. This game is a 9 for me. This game was
Really?
a 9 for me. I loved this game.
I was actually trying to think of a review, and weirdly, my gut immediately goes to an 8. But like when I try to justify that, I just can't. So I guess I'll have to go probably around a 9 as well, just because like I'm trying to think of any like criticisms I can give of it, and there just really isn't. Like it ran fine, the story was interesting, the puzzles were challenging but not impossible. There weren't any puzzles that were like illogical to solve, you know, like I wouldn't, like in Ever Forward, how those were like, and you wouldn't have thought to do those things, right?
And
So, yeah.
the only one puzzle I really had a big issue was near the beginning, where you had to so in the game there's these doors that no object can go through, and it was a simple setup to where you had to like make the cube big enough to where it can kind of like go over a wall. I had issues with that one just because I couldn't get the perspective right.
Yeah.
That took me a long time. But that's more of a me thing, and that wasn't nothing to do with the game.
That very first level, when you first encounter the doors that you can't take objects through, I genuinely thought, because I didn't understand the mechanics of the game at the time, that when you touched an object to it, it just shrunk the object.
I thought that too.
And so I think, honestly, if I have one critique to ever give, it's maybe explain find a way to kind of teach the perspective thing before you get there, because I was literally just like, do I make it super small and then try to do something with it? And I was like bringing other objects, and the reason it shrinks is because when you're holding it up against a surface, it appears smaller. So that's why it shrunk down. It was a perspective thing, whereas I thought it was that the wall was functionally shrinking the thing.
Yeah, me too.
So glad I wasn't the only one.
Yeah. But this game is incredible.
It's a good game.
Really, really recommend this game. Ran exceptionally well on the Switch.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have a single problem, even when I spawned a billion of those Apple
Yeah.
things.
So, absolutely check it out if you're a fan of puzzle games, which I'm becoming a big fan of puzzle games.
Yeah, we were able to get physical copies of this one from Super Rare.
Yeah. So
I don't know if they probably still don't. It's been a long time, but yeah.
So, the last game of the night. Oh, I was not prepared for this one. I'm going to have to look this up. Bugsnax.
Bugsnax.
So, give me just 1 second. Bugsnax.
Oh,
I didn't do my job, Connor.
Oh, cabbage. How dare you?
This is developed. Okay, don't worry. I'm all set. This is developed by Young Horses, released in 2020 for PS4, PS5, and PC, and then on Switch, Xbox earlier this year. You can generally beat this game in how long? Like about 8 hours?
I'd say around the 8 to 9 hour
Yeah.
mark.
So, and I did that out of order, but oh well. The story is when explorer Lizberg and her partner go missing, an investigative journalist travels to Snarktooth Island, where half food, half bug creatures reside. There, a deeper mystery is unraveled as you interview the residents and research the strange creatures on the island. So, this is a, I don't want to say a family-friendly adventure game. It's pretty family-friendly, and it isn't an adventure game. but it really has like a kind of a dark undertone with it.
Yeah.
So the gameplay of this is you catch Bugsnax with traps and other means, and you would feed them to residents and to satisfy them, and then you can then interview them and complete quests to find out what happened to Lizbert.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very simple gameplay loop.
Yeah.
And I thought this game was... I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as the other two games.
Huh, okay.
And I'm not saying it's a bad game. I still enjoyed this game. I still thought it was a very fun game. Just not as much fun as like Superliminal or something.
Yeah.
So some of the goods of this game is that it's well voice acted and super memorable characters.
All the grumpuses.
Oh, the grumpuses, yeah. I like as I stated before, I liked the dark undertones beneath like the super colorful, happy look.
Yeah.
All the Bugsnax are clever and adorable. I want a plushie for every single one of them.
Oh, yeah. I loved all of them. And how many variations there were based on time of day or region that you go into.
Basically, this game is a Pokemon game. Because you catch them...
If you ate the Pokemon.
Yeah, if you ate the Pokemon. Because especially all the Bugsnax say their own name. Like a Pokemon.
And they all have really funny names.
Yeah.
Like Cheepoof.
Cheepoof!
It's like a moth that's a Cheeto.
Yeah.
I love it.
Pop Tick, which is a popcorn kernel.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite, Bunger, 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 Bunger.
I like Strawbee and Raspy.
Yeah. So a Bunger is basically a burger with curly fries for tusks.
Did you find the barbecue Bunger?
Yes. And then you have the Crabble.
Yes. There's so many good ones in it.
The Shishka Bug.
Yeah.
The Friter. All of them have like their own like look to where you can look out in the distance and know instantly what they are.
Yeah.
With the exception, you do scan Bugsnax with cameras or with a camera, and it'll give you like their walking pattern, their loves and hates. The only thing that I have a criticism for is that while the silhouettes are super distinct in the world, it's not as distinct when it tells you what a certain bug loves or hates.
Yeah.
So, and
the gameplay loop of this is you get to this island and all the grumpuses that are on this island have basically gone missing. And so your goal when you get to the island is you meet Filbo, who is the quote-unquote mayor of this island, and he sends you off to bring back all of the townsfolk and get them to come back to town. And they all have various reasons why they've run off, all stemming from Lizbert's disappearance.
yes.
She ended up disappearing, and so I believe she was the one who was bringing them Bugsnax to eat. And when she disappeared, people got desperate and for various reasons left the town. So your goal is to bring them back to the town and interview them. And to bring them back to the town, they typically want you to capture certain Bugsnax and feed them to them for whatever reason they might have. And part of the gameplay loop is as a character eats one of these Bugsnax, one of their appendages then becomes that food item.
Yes.
And so I thought that was very interesting. But from the moment it happened, I was thinking like, all right, can they turn back? Can they...
That's what I was thinking too, because I fed a Roodle, which is basically a worm that's a carrot. I fed one to Filbo, and his arm was a carrot the entire game.
Except for the very end.
Okay. I'm going to admit here, I didn't get a chance to finish this game. I'm sorry, people. Please don't at me.
Adam.
Don't.
So, I think if we want to continue talking about the story, I'm going to have to go into spoiler territory.
Go ahead. Spoiler alert, number 2.
Okay. So, as you progress further in the story, you get all the townsfolk there, and you start picking up clues as to Lizbert's location. And so you head up into the mountains where you encounter, what's her name?
Eggabell?
Eggabell. Yes, the egg-shaped girl, who's the partner of Lizbert.
Mm-hmm.
And she's telling everybody to go away. I can find her on my own, all this stuff. And you end up helping her and bringing Filbo to help her as well. Come to find out, behind these doors in this mountain, you discover that Lizbert has turned into this giant food creature.
Is that food creature the one that crashed into your ship in the beginning? It was like that giant pizza moth?
No.
No? Okay.
Pizza moth does show back up at the end, though, but no. It's this weird amalgamation of a bunch of different food items.
Ew.
And she basically says, like, I have been trying to send you guys warnings to leave the island. These Bugsnax are parasites. They just want to turn everybody into food. And she has been keeping them at bay by like holding off from losing full control.
Mm-hmm.
And Eggabell ends up coming in and sacrificing herself and becoming the second head to this creature.
Ugh.
And they try to buy us enough time to go back to the village, get everybody onto our ship, and leave the island. And so you have to go back and you have to fight off all these Bugsnax that are now rampaging and get everybody on the ship, and you leave the island, go back to the mainland, and you are promptly fired from your job.
Of course.
And it appears that maybe they turn back after a while because Filbo is now back to normal. Like, he doesn't have food limbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then Filbo then becomes, like, an actual mayor, and you become, like, his, like, campaign manager or whatever.
Interesting.
And there's, I think, an insinuation at the end that the newspaper people knew what was going on there, and they were, like, trying to cover everything up.
Oh, damn.
So they're maybe setting it up for like a sequel where the Bugsnax get off the island.
Oh God, it'd be like a Jurassic World situation.
Yeah. It was really good though, but yeah. So what did you think of the gameplay and everything else?
For one, I think your cat's adorable.
Yeah, she just opened the door and came right in.
Yeah, like she opened the door like a freaking raptor.
I know, it's terrifying, isn't it?
Hi, kitty. Anyway, what was your question? I'm sorry.
I said, what did you think of the gameplay?
I thought the gameplay was fun. It was a lot more open world than what it led on. It's not really an open world. There's open areas.
Yeah, you still gotta load each section as you go into it.
But the load times are not that bad.
Yeah, not on the PS5 at least.
But I thought the gameplay was pretty fun. I liked the kind of puzzle-ish aspect of capturing these Bugsnax. Like each Bugsnax kind of has a strategy to be able to catch it.
What I didn't like was at no point did the bugs become easier to catch.
Yes, I do agree with you.
I think that how most games tend to flow is things are hard in the beginning, and then by the end, after you've unlocked certain things or have got certain stuff, it's much easier to catch stuff. But it honestly never became easy to catch the ones that were on fire or the ones that were icy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they always were just a pain in the ass to like catch.
Yeah, and when you brought that up, it kind of got me thinking like a lot of the controls I felt, especially with the tools, it didn't feel very intuitive a lot of the times. Where when you had to catch some of the flying Bugsnax, where you had to set down the launch pad, then put down your trap, and then you have to aim the launch pad. It's all with the same buttons, and a lot of the time I got confused of which tool I had activated and which tool was going to fire.
Yeah.
I felt like there could have been a better way to simplify it.
And some of the solutions, you kind of felt like you ever, I think I've mentioned this before when we talked about Ever Forward, but like you find a solution, but you don't feel like it's the right solution, but you try it anyway. And that's actually what they wanted you to do. Like putting the trap on the launch pad and launching it up in the air to catch the flying ones. Like that didn't seem right to me. Like
No.
it seemed kind of kitschy and like a cheat maybe, but it worked.
It did, and I thought it was really weird because you do get a net in this game, but you can only do it when the Bugsnax is stunned. I had this thought where if I launch myself on the launch pad, then I can use the net to capture the flying ones.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
The net's, I don't know, it's almost useless. Like
the net is very useless.
You can't really use it to catch much at all. And like they have like these small bugs that like you can't catch in a normal trap unless you stun them first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of dumb. And then there's other ones where like, oh, if they're on fire or icy, if you catch them, you'll light yourself on fire or you'll freeze. And so you have to find a way to either put out the fire or defrost them first. And so it's like, okay.
And something I thought was really weird too is like, I can understand the puzzle aspect when it came to the bigger Bugsnax, like the bunger and the whatever the lobster baked potato was.
Oh yeah.
Because I felt like there should have been a trap to where you can capture them. Or
yeah,
like, at least an upgrade.
I thought when they gave you the grappling hook arm that you'd
Me
be able
too.
to grab like the little ones. You can't.
Yeah, and so I think an upgrade system would have benefited this game very well.
Oh yeah, make it to by the end of the game, you can pretty much catch anything just like that, you know?
Exactly. One nice thing about this though is the representation.
Yeah.
I'm actually reading the Wikipedia right now, and Gaming Magazine, which is a LGBT video game blog, they praised the game's inclusion of the same-sex couples.
Yeah.
And I loved how like no mention of them that they were LGBT at all. They talked like a couple, and that's all that was needed.
They weren't tokenized.
No, not at all. The only thing you can guess was tokenized, and it's not really even tokenized, it's more archetype, are the characters. You got the bro grump that's super strong and named Chanlo.
Oh, there's fireworks going
Yeah,
off.
there's fireworks. Oh, great. Hope it's not picking up.
If so, you can get in the mood with us.
What?
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
What?
The firework mood.
Oh.
I don't know what you were thinking.
I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, what the fuck were you thinking?
You were thinking Bugsnax.
I was thinking Bugsnax. Because I'm not thinking about fireworks right now because I'd rather not think about 4th of July right now.
That's fair. But I think the game doesn't have a ton of replayability because after you hit what's considered the point of no return, which is when you go to save Lizbert, the game pretty much ends. And so if you want to replay that or go back and play the side missions for any of the characters, you have to pretty much restart the game and then play those side missions before you do the final mission. So keep that in mind. It does warn you, which is good, but you know, there's no replayability on that side of things.
Yeah. So overall, I would probably maybe give this game, I would give it like a 7. Personally,
I was gonna say 7.5. That's what I was thinking.
There's a lot of good in this game. Thinking back, it's like I just don't think there's enough in there to actually put it at like an 8 or a 9. If the mechanics were just a little bit deeper,
Yes,
it would. I think it would be better.
because the story was interesting enough.
It was very interesting, and the and all the bugs were adorable.
Yes. Oh, the creature design was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. So, but that's kind of my score on it.
Yeah.
And that'll just about do it. Next week looks like we only have one game. Dust and Elysian. Is that how you say it, Connor?
Elysian, yeah.
Elysian Tale. Dust and Elysian Tale. I've never heard of this game. I have no idea what this game's about. But I'm excited.
You know what you're gonna play it on yet?
Not yet. It looks like it's for PC, Switch, and PS4. I guess whatever's cheaper.
Okay.
So, but thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.